third session lined up for you. It's a lightning talk on setting up large-scale sustainable women in tech programs, a case study of LinkedIn coaching. Hear from Ankit Babbar and Ramitha Chitloor about challenges and successes of building impactful employee resources group and women in tech programs. So I call upon Ankit Babbar and Ramitha Chitloor onto the stage, please.
Hello.
Check. Yeah, I think.
Hello. Yeah. So thank you all for your patience. We are about to start our next session, a lightning talk on successes and challenges of building impactful employee resource groups and women in tech programs. Thank you so much. We'll be about to start the next session. Thank you.
Hi. So setting up large-scale sustainable ERG/WIT programs. That's a fairly large title. And I'm here today, though, to break it down for you. ERG programs are employee resource groups, and WIT stands for Women in Technology. Employee resource groups are employee-led by the employees and for the employees. And these groups exist so that they can support one another and help each other grow, both personally as well as professionally. And by a quick show of hands, can we see how many of us are part of an employee resource group or WIT program? Okay, I do see a couple of hands go up. And I guess another quick show of hands, how many of us have set up some of these programs? Okay, so we do have a few in the room, and I did expect some hands raised here because we are at GHC. So you, I think, must know how daunting it is to set something up like this, because a lot of these are voluntary, and they have a certain self-motivation that's required for it to run successfully. And they tend to get complicated very quickly as well, because especially if it spans across various verticals, you need to talk to a lot of people, you need to get buy-in from a lot of people in order to ensure that it is successful. But we're here today to demystify all of that for you and hopefully give you simple guidelines that help you not only set up these programs, but also that help you sustain them year after year. So I'm Ramitha. I am a staff software engineer at LinkedIn. I've been with LinkedIn for 10 years now. And I've been across multiple teams and multiple locations at LinkedIn. And in, I think, the interest of STEAM, I would say that I also knit and I crochet and I embroider. And I'm a mom of 2 kids, a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old. And I think it's just become so much more clear to me how much we as women do on a day-to-day basis. So it's become a personal goal of mine to help as many women in technology as possible. And I'm here today with Ankit, who is one of the best allies I've had, and I'll probably let him introduce himself.
Thanks, Ramitha. Hello, everyone. This is Ankit. I'm excited to be at GHCI speaking this time. I've been with LinkedIn for close to 7 years now. I'm currently an eng lead with the LinkedIn Sales Solutions engineering team, working on building enterprise-grade sales intelligence tools like Sales Navigator. I believe very passionately about creating an equal opportunity for women and non-binary people in tech. And I've been associated with LinkedIn Women in Tech program as an ally for the past 5 years. On a personal side, I have also a 2-year-old son who keeps me on my toes. Hand offing back to Ramitha, take it over.
All right. So both of us have been part of WIT India, and WIT India has successfully led 5 years of LinkedIn coaching, which has impacted hundreds of girls in their engineering colleges, and it has really helped them get kick-started into their career so that they land jobs in top tech companies. So hopefully we can share, we've learned a lot along the way, and we can share a few things that will inspire you all to do the same thing within your organizations. Let me quickly go through the agenda for today. So Ankit is going to be walking through LinkedIn Coaching, what the program is, how it's set up, some of the improvements that we've had along the way, and the impact that it's had. And I'll go over a set of guidelines that anyone can apply to set up some of these large-scale sustainable programs that only get better year after year. So over to you, Ankit.
Thank you. Yeah, let me first ask, who has heard of LinkedIn coaching program? Anyone? No worries, we'll be talking all about it. So before we go into the program, let's understand the problem statement, why we launched coaching. So historically, we have seen there's a gap in number of women students enrolling in colleges and for undergraduate courses, and the number of them who end up landing a job in top tech companies like Google, Meta, and others. This gap is more evident in tier 2 and tier 3 colleges across India, which is one of the reasons for that is these students end up taking these colleges because of proximity to their hometowns and not preferring over IITs or NITs, which might give them a better chance of getting college placement as part of the hiring process. There's also lack of equal opportunity for all of them, lack of access to mentors, coaches who can guide them. And we all know there's a wide gap in diversity for women employees across all these companies. So while this is constantly changing and things are getting better, many companies are trying to solve this in one form and another by doing different initiatives. One of such initiatives is by LinkedIn called Coaching. So I'm the tech lead for Coaching, and I'll be talking about what we do as part of LinkedIn Coaching. So this is a program by the LinkedIn India Women in Tech team and the talent acquisition team. This is aimed at the college students who are currently in the 2nd year, the 4th semester, who are interested in computer science. They majorly belong to tier 2 and tier 3 colleges across India. And the aim and objective of this program is to help them prepare and crack internship interviews with these top companies by sharing an intense curriculum and one-to-one mentoring. The program runs virtually for 4 months. Let's take a look at how the program is set up. We'll start with eligibility. Who is eligible to apply? I mentioned this is for women students who are in the tier 2, tier 3 colleges, majorly in computer science and IT interest. They should not be having any backlogs. And why I say 4th semester more specifically, this is because most of the colleges in India, they have summer internship as part of their curriculum in the 3rd year, that is after the 6th semester. So companies start hiring for summer interns 1 year prior to that, towards the end of 4th semester. Most of the companies do the same, Google, LinkedIn, and ours, similar companies. So this gives us the opportunity to come in at the time of 4th semester and help them prepare for this upcoming interviews. So we do an extensive outreach through LinkedIn, Instagram, and other platforms, campus engagements, and to start the application process. Then after they apply, they go through an online assessment and a screening to ensure they're right fit for the program as well as they know of the time commitment that has to go, because this is going to happen in parallel to the college curriculum. So we shortlist a batch of around 70 students who go through this 4-month program virtually. Now, what are the offerings of this program? Each of these mentee that we call them, which is the final batch, is paired with a one-to-one mentor, which is a LinkedIn employee. And this mentor will be focusing on helping them build their computer science fundamentals, solving their queries, understanding how the corporate works, and career guidance, both technical and non-technical, and be their sounding board throughout the program. This is one of the main offerings from Cochin. We share them a detailed, self-created learning path, which is focused on algorithms, data structures, and fundamentals. We conduct classroom sessions where we touch on different topics, do live problem solving and discussions. Students attempt a live question during the call and then understand how this can be solved better. The intent is not to teach a topic from 0 to 1. It is for them to understand how they can apply different algorithms, when to apply them, how to problem solve, and improve their thinking process. We do mock tests online, and we do mock interviews where we pair these students with mentors other than their own assigned mentor and give them experience of a real interview. They share feedback and help them improve. We conduct solution discussion sessions, which is discussing the solutions of practice tests, mock tests, and understand what they can do better or how could they solve differently and address queries that they have. They all get access to LinkedIn Learning and Premium, using which they can access the vast resources on LinkedIn Learning platform and enhance LinkedIn platform capabilities. Besides the technical content, we do fireside chats with LinkedIn experts, leaders who touch on both technical and non-technical topics and help inspire, help the students to learn more, get inspired, and build that network. We also do profile building sessions to help their profile get better in the soft skills. There's a mechanism to set up so that there's constant feedback loop, and we address as required. And the main offering that comes towards the end of the program is all the students who are part of the program, they get to sit directly for an interview hiring process, which we might have not visited those campuses directly. Let's take a look at the program timeline. So while the planning starts much early on, and once we have shortlisted these candidates, we launch this program typically in March every year and end in July, because July is when the actual interviews start from these companies. When we kick off, we let them, these students are paired with mentors. They do the ice breaking, start building the relationship. And then we do our first classroom session, followed by mock tests, mock interviews, fireside chats, and others. Something or another happening every week so that they are constantly engaged and we have check-ins in place so that we get constant feedback. The mentors connect with these mentees almost every month at the minimum, and they will be discussing anywhere from, hey, what are you doing? What is new that is happening, and what project are you working on? Or how can you get better at problem solving? Which are the topics you're not good at? Let's do work on those. Set goals and improve as required. Now, you can see this is a vast timeline of sessions that are happening over 4 to 5 months. Now, to make this happen, we need a lot of resources. So what we do within LinkedIn is we set up at least close to 100-member team, which is formed of junior, senior ICs, managers, talent team partners, and other stakeholders. These volunteers work on 3 major roles. One is as a mentor who is coaching these mentees. Second, as a content creator who will be preparing and delivering that content. We prepare everything in-house. We access resources from outside, but everything is tailored for the students. Then there are co-team leads who will own and manage different aspects of the program so that it ensures it runs on time. For example, mentor engagement, mentee progress, content, comms, and others. Now, the core team will meet on a regular cadence, work on set defined deliverables. We closely track the progress of mentees, how they started, what was their state at the day 1, and what is the state at the end of the program, through different data points. For example, their mock test and mock interview scores, their feedback from the mentors, their classroom engagements, and other sources. And intervene if required if we don't see that the progress is not going good and what we can do better. We do a retrospective towards the end of the program to understand what went well and the learnings from feedbacks and other sources, and improvise for the next season. We see now, this is all volunteer work by other LinkedIn employees. So on an average, we've seen that these mentors spend at least 1 day per month for 5 months, which makes a week per mentor. And like, if you add up, it's like 100 weeks in 1 year that is being spent on this program at the minimum, which shows that their time commitment to coaching and the diversity in workplace initiatives. Coaching has done 5 seasons till now, started in 2020, and has totally evolved. So we did just launch before the COVID happened. At that point of time, it was a pilot program just focused on Bangalore colleges, and now we have gone pan-India from colleges across India. We have seen the applications are growing year over year. With the latest season this year, got more than 10,000 applications, and we shortlisted only a batch of 70 students. Earlier, it was a batch of 10 students that we started with, and now we have doing around 70 students, and we're constantly exploring ways on how we can increase and get to more scale and create impact with maximum students. The mentor size is also growing because we try to ensure that we have enough mentors time committed and they can focus on those mentees. So we try with different pairing ratios, like 1 is mentor is to 1 mentee or 1 is to 2 mentees, and not more than that, because then it will get more diluted. So over the years, besides the size of the program, the offerings that I mentioned earlier have also evolved. Not everything was there in a day zero. For example, managing mentors at scale became a problem because the size was growing. So we had to follow up with mentors. Hey, did you do a check-in or not? Did you follow up on these things? Can you give us feedback? Which was becoming problematic. So we introduced mentor champions, who are volunteers who are interacting with a set cohort of mentors and giving feedback back to the core team. We made other changes like introduce classroom sessions so that the load is not on mentors. Rather, we do in a combined fashion. We added automation to manage the program better, like introducing Slack bots and other tools. And for mentees, we saw that over the period of time, the interest started dying down. So we added more check-in points and engaged using mentors and talent partners. Now, this has created a lot of impact over the years, and this is one of the most gratifying things that I've done in my career. So we have mentored more than 200 students as part of the 5 seasons, and more than 50% of these students either intern or work at these top companies like Google, Meta, Microsoft, Amazon, LinkedIn, and many others working in other companies. The interns also get full-time offers, which they end up accepting as well. These students get to interact with industry experts and leaders, get technical career guidance, and build their networks. For mentors, it's a gratification to create an impact with these students, as well as build those relationships. And for companies, they get to hire diversity talent. To give an example, the mentees that I mentored in my early seasons are now working with me in LinkedIn as my peers, and we collaborate very closely on day-to-day projects. And these are some of the best hires that LinkedIn has had. So many companies have said the same, that some of the interns are their best hires. So this has been a successful journey so far, and we hope to keep on doing this again and again, year over year. Now over to Ramitha to talk about the next section.
All right, thank you, Ankit. So if we had to look at everything that we do over the over 6 months, year after year, and if we had to pick 1 or 2 key learnings from it, the most important thing is for us to understand that at the heart of such a large-scale program lies a constant learning process that can be represented in the form of a build, measure, and learn cycle. So this has been, we have borrowed it from the lean startup philosophy, and it's very applicable even for building such programs. So we start with an MVP of the product, or in our case, an MVP, a pilot program, and we test it out, and we learn from it, we collect data and user feedback from it, and see how we can improve it for the next cycle. And the whole thing sort of feeds into itself to only create a program that gets better year after year. So let's get into it. So we start with the build phase. So one of the most important things that we have to do right at the beginning is to identify and get leadership buy-in because they need to budget for it. And once we get that, we can go on into all the different organizations and get representation from each of those organizations. That leadership buy-in that we got at the beginning is also helpful in getting nominations from your leadership for these different roles. And once the core team is set up, it's not just important to determine the size of the core team, but also to get the right people for the core team, because they need to be 100% in favor of the same cause. And the last thing is to keep everybody motivated. Like, it's obvious from our program that the mentees benefit from the program, but the mentors also invest very heavily into it. And it's important for us to recognize that and reward that appropriately. So once we have the right people, we go on to designing the program. Like I said, we have to start with a pilot. Start very small, because a small program that tackles the problem will give us enough information to determine whether the program is suited for that problem or not. And when we decide this pilot, like, we get feedback from it, and we've learned that the narrower the problem, the more in-depth we go into it, it has a better impact than surface-level knowledge sharing, like through talks. But the minute we have a program that is more detailed and that spans over such a long time, it really gets complicated. And I'd like to say that the devil is really in the details here. So having that week-on-week view to know what's coming really helps in knowing all the dependencies ahead of time as the program progresses. And this is nothing but program management at scale. And the most important thing here is to communicate early, and to communicate clearly about everything, right from the timelines to the expectations to how we measure it. And that brings us to the next step, which is measuring. This doesn't happen just during the duration of the program. The measuring phase happens even before the program starts, and it goes well into after the program ends. So right at the beginning, there are a couple of things that you need to define. One is you need to figure out what success looks like for the program. And two is you need to figure out the metrics that you're going to measure. And the metrics can be both quantitative as well as qualitative. So the quantitative metrics include things like the duration of the program, the number of people, the time that people invest, and also the cost. And these are similar to a lot of the graphs that Ankit showed us previously. And with respect to the qualitative feedback, it's kind of important for us to have an open channel for feedback throughout the duration of the program, and to solicit feedback from every single person, including the volunteers. So this really helps us keep a check and a pulse on the program. And like, for example, if the program is reaching the demographic, and if something goes wrong, we get to know of it right then, and we can address it immediately instead of waiting towards the end. So the last bit is the learning bit, and this closes the loop. So now your program has run for a year, and there is a lot to learn from it. If you do a recap of it, you can really identify those pieces that can be improved the next time around. So you keep doing this a couple of times, and you can have a well-established program. But even with a well-established program, feedback is so important, because you have to ensure that the offerings of the program are still relevant. For example, with Cochin, with all the advancements in AI, like, unless we are refreshing that content, that program is not going to be relevant as it was 5 years ago. So that feedback loop is extremely important. And as the program grows, like, the program management as well has to grow. And this also gives us an opportunity to understand, like, the things that are working well, the things that are expensive, what are things that we can do differently in order to reduce the cost. And we found that automating a lot of the grunt work really increases the cost of really increases the return on investment here. So over the years, a lot of things are going to become very clear. A lot of things crystallize, like the structure of the program, the roles and responsibilities, how you're going to manage your people. But there are some parts of the program that should remain flexible, and they should continue to be flexible, because that's what is going to make your program really resilient over the years. So with that, I'm going to thank you. We've reached the end of our program. And I hope that you're going to leave here feeling inspired to do something for your own organizations. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I am very much impressed by the useful session that you've done. So we'd like to call upon the session chair, Keda Nigida, to present a token of appreciation from our side, please. Please put our hands together for this session, please. So thank you so much. If you have any questions, our speakers are free. Please get to them and connect with them.